Welcome to Thriller Bitcoin.
Christopher, good to have you back in the lab.
Thanks, good to be here.
Dude, every time I see you, I'm just like, man, remember the early days? It was just like you and Super Testnet doing some, what was it, Bull Run?
Yeah, we did some like Noster rideshare stuff. But now we've got we're like the three old people here in the corner and all these like new little Bitcoiners are running around and learning about bits.
Yeah, it's good to have you back in the lab. It's the gang's back together again. How you been, man? How's we'll jump into OpenAgents, but just overall, how you feeling this week? It's been a lot of turmoil, all that kind of stuff with everything. Just want to know how you feeling, how you thinking through all this stuff.
I mean, turmoil in the world. I've been on the road, I went to the Wolf Accelerator last year. I thought I would like stick around and try to make New York like the next big Bitcoin hub. And no, nothing beats Austin. I'm back in Austin for good.
Nice.
New York, I love you. PubKey, you're awesome. Austin is the Bitcoin capital of the world.
Nice.
Past, present, future, just get used to it. But yeah, married, baby due in June. Lots of things happening. Myself and the world. Like, I don't know. It's exciting times to be living in. I got into Bitcoin in 2011. One of my nerd libertarian Ron Paul friends got me into it, and to just see like every single day news come out like proving Ron Paul was right.
Yeah.
And the kinds of things that I've like been learning and wrestling with for the last 15 years, it's like we have a solution now. It's called Bitcoin, and also the things we build on top of Bitcoin or with Bitcoin that I think is the solution to like all of this shit that's going on. So yeah, exciting times.
Yeah. It's yeah. And we were talking about earlier at the workshop here, but I think William Gibson's right. It's new technology, and it's the person who's holding it and how they decide to use it that makes things good or bad. But you're using it for good. What's going on with OpenAgents? Or do you want let's talk about the GP Utopia stuff first, and then we'll get into OpenAgents and all that.
Yeah,
kind
I'll
of
tell
stuff.
the story a bit.
Yeah.
When some of the new chat AI models were coming out a year ago, I wanted to play with them and kind of quickly get beyond the sort of censored versions. Seeing that there were these open models that were being released on Hugging Face and getting excited and wanting to put them into my app. I was building a Nostr client at the time, and quickly ran into the issue of, you go to Hugging Face or any of these cloud providers to spin up a GPU, and it's like, there's no hardware capacity. Like, why can I not easily spin up a GPU? Why can't I just go to some marketplace, pay Lightning Sats? If the supply is constrained, then just let me pay 3, 5, 10x above spot. If I need the GPU, maybe I'm willing to do that for a short time. That didn't exist. It was like, That was kind of use case number one where, okay, Bitcoin fixes this. There should be a liquid market enabling GPU compute. And we built a kind of a glorified prototype of a swarm GPU network that compensated service providers in Lightning.
It seemed like people were using it though. It seemed like
we had a ton of sellers.
Oh, okay.
We definitively solved the issue of like,
okay,
you know, can we get compute? Yes, like people are willing to sell their consumer GPU devices to earn sats. That was definitively solved. But what we ran up against was, okay, where's the buyers? Like, who wants to use this? Now, we could have made a very lucrative business selling uncensored models to, I don't know, the porn industry or the waifu of the day.
Yeah.
That isn't exactly what I'm trying to do with my life. So
no one is.
So the sort of like the uncensored element of it is like cool. And I'm glad that is like a thing that you can kind of pull down your own model and do whatever you want with. But it's still like, what is the way that people who want to use this for new, very productive things can do this in a uncensorable, censorship resistant way that gets around the kind of platform risk where, you know, I don't want to have Microsoft and OpenAI and these sort of like who I view as bad actors engaging in regulatory capture to kind of put barriers around,
right,
you know, newer entrants. I don't want them owning the future of AI. And so the big light bulb for me came when I watched the Dev Day presentation from OpenAI, where Sam Altman kind of reviewed all of the new things that they were putting out. And his sort of like one more thing at the end of the presentation was introducing this idea of GPTs, which is sort of their like watered down version of agents. It became very clear that OpenAI viewed the future of AI or applied AI as agents. And I've since come to this view that in the, I think, near future, every single person, every single company is going to have one or more AI agents working on their behalf or in their business processes in some ways. And the question is, who is going to own those agents? Where are you going to get them from? Are you going to be happy to get all of that from Microsoft?
Right.
Or Microsoft's puppet, also closed source company, OpenAI, who are at the same time sending people to fly to DC to scare the shit out of regulators with a bunch of like bullshit, fanciful sci-fi scenarios about AI takeover and scaring the hell out of politicians who are eager for any excuse to like write new regulations that line their pockets anyways. And that whole nexus needs to be shattered. So the original thought behind kind of like the pivot 6 months ago to OpenAgents was we need to do this idea of applied AI specifically embodied as agents in an open way that is not only 100% open source, it's inspectable. It needs to be run on open protocols to get around platform risk. It needs to use open money because how are agents going to pay each other? They're not going to be opening bank accounts. They're not going to be navigating 1,000 different shit coins. They're very clearly going to be paying each other the native currency of the internet called Bitcoin. And we need infrastructure. We need a whole apparatus and ecosystem to do that.
Absolutely. I want to talk about the Microsoft thing because I don't think people realize just how webbed in they are with OpenAI and the whole Elon thing. Can you just, for the people that are listening at home, for the people that like myself who want to use a Bitcoiner version of this technology, like what is it about these entities that have their hands on with all this stuff, Christopher? Like what's the biggest, I mean, other than what you described right now, but like, what is the thing that is driving these people to kind of take over all this and use it in this kind of possibly nefarious way?
I mean, step one is you've got companies that are so large that they're basically extensions of the government, and you've got this incestuous relationship between large corporations and large governments. And this is like a kind of a pattern, this like regulatory capture pattern that I grappled with in my previous startup, Arcade City, doing rideshare stuff where like I, back in the day drove for Uber, but then ended up chafing against Uber when I saw them try to encode their business model into law. And, you know, I'm like sitting at a subcommittee hearing in front of the New Hampshire state legislature, you know, arguing against some Uber lobbyist who's trying to say, oh yeah, like you should pass these laws because this reflects the state of the market as it is today, and there's no rideshare company in the world that takes cash. And I could be like, excuse me, like I've got drivers out there right now taking cash. They ended up striking that from the bill. So like, you know, one small little victory in New Hampshire because I showed up at the committee, but you know, they've got this Uber as like the largest lobbying army in like the entire world. So that's just kind of the modus operandi of these large companies. And when you have something that is as civilizationally important as a new technology, as AI, which is poised to be like the next new computing platform, where whoever controls it, quote unquote, or if it becomes controlled, is going to give that person or entity like a lot more power. And do you want the governments of the world, the governments that are, you know, either explicitly communist or seeing communist regimes as worthy of emulation, where, you know, just to give one quick example.
Please do, because I don't think no one's talking about that. It literally just feels like I'm talking to myself about this. Like, talk about it, please. Yeah.
Just you know, you've got the whole part of why the U.S. is so fucked these days with inflation. Bleep me out retroactively if you need me to. Is because we consented to shut down our economy and the world economy for a number of years, importing horrible ideas and research from what we saw the Chinese Communist Party do. Are we going to do that same thing for AI? Like, I can't trust the United States government or any government that they're going to be good stewards of this new technology, which needs to be decentralized. The power of this needs to be dispersed, decentralized. There needs to be a lot of different actors. And the beautiful part about that is like the power structure that kind of necessitates is something that is truly decentralized with power dispersed. And, you know, that may not be seen as compatible with the current, like, you know, bipolar world that we live in or whatever, but it's a lot more in line with the world described in Sovereign Individual and my favorite Rothbardian text. Yeah. So we're moving toward a Rothbardian future, whether the people in charge like it or not. And you know, of course they're going to try to control AI because that's how we like disrupt all of their shenanigans.
This is the biggest problem I think that's going on in the world right now, and no one's talking about except for us right now, is that communism has entered United States shores, and they're like literally letting them in, like opening the doors for them, whether it's Microsoft or some people that aren't patriotic in our government that are doing this. Quite frankly, I've been saying this for a couple of days now. Like there needs to be a serious hearing of like what's going on inside our government and letting these people come right into our shores and infiltrate us with communism and all these tactics. They're going to come by the air. They're going to come by the computer. They're going to come everywhere, Christopher. And we need more American companies like yourself out there making based versions of this type of technology. To me, it's alarming, dude, and it's scary. It's scary, man. And we're in a very free state of Texas, and it's still kind of scary. I don't know, man. Gosh.
It's scary because, I mean, things are going to get worse before they get better, I think, in a lot of respects. But I'm net completely bullish because you just look at the news that comes out every day about inflation and the money printing. It's like they're going to be running out of options, and they can't really crack down too hard on even Bitcoiners, I don't think, because we have options. We have the ability to play this jurisdictional arbitrage game now where we can just leave for a friendly jurisdiction. It's like you can try to squeeze your population more to incentivize them to move to El Salvador or move elsewhere. And so I think the name of the game, as I see it, is to build avenues for people to exit the current system even without like leaving the country necessarily, but
Ideally, yeah, that would be
kind of
great.
like Jeff Booth says, like just stop giving energy to the old system. And I don't even like talking about it that much. Like I spent so many years involved in politics and trying to like change things from the inside. And it's like, if we just get people like that realizing that they can be so much more productive by just building alternative systems. And so anyway, I just view the need for there to be kind of like an alternative apparatus that can, from first principles, starting from sound money, starting from a respect for new technology, like how can we build networks that enable us to harness all of the benefits of these things and not need to depend on large companies or large governments. All this, like, there's a lot of kind of concern about, are data centers going to be regulated? I mean, we have the beautiful benefit with Bitcoin of having a whole bunch of, Bitcoin data centers who've done all sorts of existing sort of regulatory and electricity arbitrage dispersed all around the world, some of whom are starting to diversify specifically into AI compute because they want to have additional revenue streams. And I've had a few of those conversations with some of those mining companies when we were doing more of the GPU stuff. But like, we're building this global network that's not going to be stopped. And I think, but it's on us to kind of act with urgency to build layers on top of that. And the one that we're focusing on with OpenAgents is, look, there's going to be a massive shift to embrace AI among consumers, among families, among enterprises in particular.
Okay, before we jump into all that stuff, let's just button up this China thing. Because, all right, just real quick. People listening at home, you have options out there. Communism's coming to the shores. If you're in Texas, that's the third coast, the Gulf Coast. If you're on the East Coast, that's whatever that coast is called. West Coast, same thing. What I'm trying to say is you have options. What Christopher's presenting you today is an option not to opt into communism. Personally, this is how I look at it. It's binary, man. At this point, if you're using stuff like Microsoft and some of these other Chinese-funded endeavors that promote communism and promote a surveillance state that promotes CBDCs, you're going to be on the wrong side of history. That's all I'm saying. So with that, Christopher, let's talk about why OpenAgents is different. I've been using it for the past 3-4 days. It's freaking amazing. Thank you for making super goth mode.
We did not ship light mode. Dark mode only. Dark mode maxis.
Dark mode only, but I would call this car goth mode. I love it. It's amazingly all black and I use it all day. It's amazing. But with all that, kind of tell us what OpenAgents is, how is it different? And what's the vision?
So the positioning of it is such that, look, there's going to be massive capital inflows to sort of like the AI industry. AI spending is going to ramp up. We want as much of that to be as broadly distributed as possible. There's a whole bunch of people like whining about like, oh, AI is going to kill all these jobs. We need to have the government do like UBI programs. Like, no, we need to have mechanisms to have people benefit from this because we figured out how to provide value that attracts value. And so we kind of gamed out some of those ideas originally, thinking about, okay, GPU compute would be a way for like incentivizing people for compute. We ended up concluding that wasn't like the appropriate angle of entry. But when you apply that idea to, there's going to be all sorts of things that individuals can contribute to this AI revolution, whether it's you have some unique data set that you think a model should be trained on. Maybe you're providing compute. Maybe you're building an agent that does one thing in particular, or you're building a RAG algorithm, like whatever you have that you can contribute, even if you have nothing particularly of like technical skills to contribute, but you have some data that you're willing to share, you should be able to be compensated fairly for that based on market value. They're like, basically there needs to be markets for everything. And so to kind of zoom forward to the product that we have currently is step one was like, how do we wean off of the old systems? Like I'm paying OpenAI, my like sworn enemy, $20 a month. I've been paying them for 13 months in a row.
Dude, compared to what you offer to what I was paying a week ago, Dude, it's not even close.
Good.
Like
Good.
it's like not. I'm not even exaggerating here. I'm telling people that like it's the truth.
And
It's
that's
so
because,
much better.
and that's part of that is because, so aside from just having an interface, it doesn't have a bunch of like bullshit. And like there's a lot of clarity around what like limits are. If you use one model that gives you a bad answer, OpenAI or something like that, you can very easily switch it over to a different model. You can try Mistral. You can try any of like 18 different models. And we haven't had any issues to this point with people complaining that like there's like some censorship issue with any of this. We could very easily add more open and uncensored models if we needed to. We did add support for the new Spirit of Satoshi 7B model that came out to just kind of support them. But like if you want to talk to the model that a bunch of Bitcoiners trained,
that's cool.
That's available in our interface too. So we're taking this idea of arbitrage. Like I don't need to be paying OpenAI and Claude on the front, for their services, because all of these platforms, every single platform has an API because they want you to be able to use their platform still. But it's like we're eliminating the dependence and treating these companies as just one replaceable commodity.
Nice.
That look, I might have some request because GPT-4 is awesome at code, go to them, but that relationship, that data, it's not all just going to them. We've broken that dependency, and now that we have our own users,
so now they're working for us as opposed,
exactly. And now that we have our own users, we can do a lot more in terms of features and what we do with different models and different agents that we wouldn't be able to do with other, more basic corporate interfaces.
That was the thing that I found really surprising, like right away. Like if there's a magic moment, there's a lot of things that I loved about the onboarding process. The fact that you did a video at the end of the onboarding process, dude, that was a nice touch. I went in the Slack and I shared that. I was like, dude, you didn't have to do that, Christopher. But it's those type of little small things that actually make a difference. But the other thing that I thought was really interesting was just the fact that when you are going through, just asking it a question or trying to find an answer for something, the options of the different, is it the LLMs that I can choose from? Like that to me is freaking amazing, dude. That's not it's like, why would you ever use OpenAI ever again? To me, it just makes way more sense.
Yeah. So step one for us was like, have sort of a business objective for us. It's like, have a product that can deliver like clear value, let us start building up our own chat interface so that we can then more confidently like ask these users what from the world of AI agents will provide actual value, because there's a whole lot of people building agents, building demos that don't work in production. They're just glorified kind of demoware for, building hype to attract venture capital. There's people that are kind of hacking on different like agents and adding a whole bunch of tools and just kind of playing around with things, but that still don't add real value that people are willing to pay for. And so now that we have like a user base of, 100 people and 20 people paying for it, it's like, listen, we want to find something that you guys like that helps out what you're doing. And so like some of the initial agents that we're building to kind of like layer on top of this is, okay, how do I connect a GitHub repo? And can I ask questions to the GitHub repo and do other things that will just generally improve your productivity within within this context?
So potentially could I pull a repository and then start working with it direct? What are the, because I know there's like a GitHub, is it called Copilot or something? But it doesn't work inside of Visual Code, inside of Visual Code Studio. Like a lot of these things don't work that GitHub releases. So how will this be a little bit more different?
So there's Copilots that have, like extensions that work in the editor, and that's like great. And I use those, and there's different people building different versions of Copilots. But I mean, the vision that we're moving toward with agents is you really just specify what you want, give it the appropriate access, and it goes and does it for you. And this was sort of the promise of this open source Devin project that came out recently. And they showed it kind of like working in some respects. But yes, we absolutely want people to have that level of control, except you're not trusting what some like, okay, there's some little team of nerds that raised $100 million. None of their code's open source. The platform's not accessible. They do highly curated, like they let 10 people on at a time. Like I want to be the opposite of that. I want to be truly open. I don't want to lie or bullshit about what the capabilities are, because you can go test it yourself.
Right.
And you can go look at the code. And if you have an idea for something that you want to add, I want you to be able to add it. So let me just give you an example. Right now, if you go to openagents.com, one of the models, the very bottom one, is called Greptile OA codebase. This has an index of the OpenAgents codebase. And so one of the things we're going to be launching in the next week or so is you can do that type of indexing for any other code base that you have. This is using a different third-party service, but then it's very easy to add on to that. Okay, now, give it the ability to open up a GitHub comment or PR on your behalf if you wanted to, and to be able to kind of like work with it in this chat-based interface, because it's not going to get it right. It might need to be changed or whatever, but there's all sorts of things like that, things that I've done personally in my own developer workflow that I'm seeing ways to kind of automate. And one of the kind of key innovations that we're doing is that, because there's a whole bunch of people like doing that idea, like, oh, I'm going to build a service that like people will pay for, that'll like do this one thing a little bit better and be more automated. But our approach is that this needs to be solved as a market. This needs to be extensible. So if a developer has an idea for, I wish it had capability X, instead of asking us to build it, we want them to just go and build it and have an interface that they can upload a plugin and just build an agent from things even that they upload. So we have this, we posted this up a month ago, just a way for, we're kind of subsidizing with these Bitcoin bounties, the first 100 of these plugins. There's a framework called XDism that makes it easy to write plugins in any of like 10 different languages and compile them to these WASM plugins, which then can be used in any XDism framework. So our service can, use these plugins, basically a way for you to create custom upgrades for agents that you write once that can then be reused.
And then these people will be able to make money on those agents outside the platform?
Right. Every time that an agent uses a plugin that you write, you get sats from that. So this is what we're rolling out over the next week, which is now when you use an agent, you're paying for the compute plus a little bit of extra.
Nice.
That little bit of extra we are splitting between whoever created the agent in our interface, which for now is the same interface basically as the GPT store. Very basic. Anyone, even a non-developer, can do it. We put up a little joke tweet the other day just showing like an example of creating an agent called Agent Breeder, and its mission is to create 10 trillion new AI agents.
Remember the one that you did at Startup Day where it was like, was it Startup Day or it was the other one where you did like the Ask the Epstein thing? Yeah.
Yep. That was agent number one. But people are going to get, I'm so excited to see what people create with this, because we're going to try really hard not to censor stuff. If there's stuff that we don't like, then we'll delete it. But our tolerance is way higher than other places, at least. Anyways, so you can create an agent via this interface.
Right.
You can upload any different files that you want it to be able to consult. And then this becomes listed in this, like, basically this directory, exact same that OpenAI launched with their GPT store. The difference is that we're actually paying you. Right now, anyone can go to openagents.com. After you sign in, you go to the settings page, you're prompted to add a Lightning address.
Nice.
This is how we're going to pay you. We've been just kind of sending some demo payments out to people, but we're integrating with this other API called Prisms that can send like multi-party Lightning payments split out between like any number of different Lightning addresses. So like the other day we sent out a 12-way Lightning payment. 2 of them failed because they didn't have enough inbound liquidity, but like it's just kind of a queue worker that goes through and makes payments via, I don't know, Alby or whatever API it is. But yeah, just doing these kinds of payments so that, if you are anywhere in the world and you contribute to some agentic workflow, instead of being paid nebulously, or maybe if you're in the US or whatever, it's like, no, just pay me programmatically, like as non-custodial, just like pay me the Lightning fractionally as it goes.
Okay, I got some questions for you.
Sure.
All right, so average pleb listening right now, saying, "Hey, this is cool. I want to have some stats flow." You know, maybe they have a podcast, or maybe they have some of these other kind of value for value apps that they use. Right now, they're like looking at OpenAgents, like, "Whoa, Christopher just said I can go and make my own OpenAgent or agent, right, on the platform." Could you theoretically, this is just me thinking outside the box right now, could you theoretically take all your grandma or your family's recipes, put it in a PDF or an Excel doc or a Word doc, throw it in there and call it grandma's summer jams or whatever like that?
Yes.
And then you literally like, hey, you want to use our recipe? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely. So yes, particularly taking data that no one else has access to that may have some like special value from it.
Yeah.
Like being able to, so, you know, yes, you can do that. You go to openagents.com. I don't know when this interview airs, but like first week of May, you go to our, you know, openagents.com, click the sign in, click create an agent, name your agent, like, you know, grandma's, you know, recipe, description, instructions, you know. People are going to ask you about recipes, consult the knowledge, upload a PDF of that information, and now that's accessible to people. Now, we want to get to the point where like someone who like clicks to fork your agent because they have a better prompt or they want to combine it with their grandma's recipes. Now you got like the two grandma, like, and you should get paid sats for like, okay, your data set's being used.
They'll still get paid for sats on that fork.
We haven't built that piece of it yet, but
yeah.
that is the idea. Like there needs to be forking, there needs to be remixing of all of this stuff with fair compensation at the different.
Dude, that's actually a really novel idea, actually. So what's stopping? Let's just say hypothetically, what's stopping Blockstream or even GetAlby making their own agent and then having documentation on there? I don't know. Like, like, could you theoretically do that?
Oh, yeah. So, you know, you can envision a company wanting to have their own agent using this, that instead of them having, like right now we're having like the users paying for all the compute. We could very easily set it up so like a company is just going to pay for all the compute and they can embed that into their thing. And we'll get there to at some point. I'm more excited to see kind of what just like random grassroots people will do.
Well, I think I can think already of just like everybody has like their own recipes for their family or whatever. Like that's obvious one there. Or you could even think of, you know, if there's a million ideas.
I think this really, and what one of these avenues we need to explore further is just like the wealth of data that needs to be fed into AIs to make them more valuable. There's all sorts of like debates in the media and stuff around, you know, oh, you're taking all of this stuff that artists made that you're not paying them or like copyright and all this stuff. It's like we're putting forward our kind of proactive solution for this, which is just like imagine that people are going to be voluntarily uploading data sets and attaching their Lightning address, and then they're just going to get paid for it in different ways.
See, and I think only a Bitcoiner could have came up with that, quite frankly, because like, you know, it's a very proof of work type of, hey, we'll meet you right where we're at, and
it's a little surprising, that no one's
thought of it yet,
done it yet, because like, this is just an idea that we've had called, you know, micropayments have been implemented for a decade and or you know, less with Lightning, but like there's all sorts of galaxy brain idiots out there trying to like issue a shit coin to have some complex governance mechanism for distributed AI network. It's like there's so much that we can do if we just get payments working, like do rev share with micropayments. That's like massive low hanging fruit. The AI space is ripe for that kind of thing.
So you're literally proving out the kind of L402 stuff that Lightning Labs has been trying to champion for, or been championing. I shouldn't say trying, been championing for the past couple years now, right?
Yeah. So we are using L402, not so much in this current product rollout, but like we did, you know, we have videos building agents that are able to consume L402 endpoints. We're working with another startup called Sulu that they're just like going around to businesses and helping them set up like basically paywalled API endpoints.
Right.
And and so we're happy to work with them because they're doing this sort of like biz dev stuff that we don't really want to do, but they're like giving us a registry of all these endpoints that speak L402. And now we can just click to import. Now all of our agents have access to all of those endpoints.
That's nice.
That's the other beauty of building on Bitcoin is you got a lot of people who agree on the protocols, Bitcoin, Lightning, increasingly Nostr, and L402. It's like we can just build different pieces of it. One person doesn't have to build everything.
It almost kind of iterates the thing that I said earlier. Like it only could have came from a Bitcoiner or from this part of the ecosystem. I think it's just the innovation part of it, right? Like the fact that these protocol devs have been innovating for the past, it's been like 7 years, something like that with Lightning. I don't know how long it's been, but
I think part of the missing piece to this point has been just like the hustle needed to set up an actual marketplace. The idea, I kind of have adapted ideas behind this, or was influenced by like 3 years ago. I mentioned in my startup day talk, hearing these pitches from people from Lightning Labs be like, look, the future of Lightning payments is going to be, there's going to be like fee markets for all these different things. And we're just going to be paying programmatically, non-custodially with Lightning payments. And applying that to AI services makes a ton of sense. And part of what I'm realizing that like I'm going to be good at, what I am good at, contra some of the other like people trying to build little AI projects or AI nerds, is like I did 6 years of very hard building up a marketplace in the face of like governments trying to shut us down and like other bullshit.
So this is not your first rodeo.
No. For those who don't know, spent 6 years building up a rideshare marketplace. Very successful in Austin for 6 years.
And they patted you on the back and they said, "Good job, Christopher. We got it from here."
Got our office rated and stuff, and had some success in expanding that to other places like the Philippines, and then made a mistake by trying to issue a shitcoin and build things on Ethereum. And don't get me started on that stuff, but just some of the ins and outs of like how you build up a two-sided marketplace. And one of the fun insights that I had was, there's a lot of like there's like a chicken and egg problem of how you build up a two-sided marketplace from scratch. And the lesson that I learned from Arcade was, well, properly incentivize one side of the transaction and they'll build the other side of the market for you. I spent almost no time, energy, effort, marketing dollars, marketing to riders with Arcade. Yet we never had a shortage of them. Our drivers all had a crap ton of riders because we properly motivated the drivers. And we solved the problem that I had when I was driving for Uber in 2015. And 20% of my customers liked my service enough, they asked how they could request me again. And I had to say, you can't, it's against Uber's terms of service, blah, blah, blah. But by just shifting that where we're providing a supportive environment for a driver to build up their own recurring customer base, it incentivizes them to take such good care of their customer and find more. So that 3 years after that, I got drivers in our Austin network showing me their Google Calendar where they got the next 2 weeks booked of pre-scheduled rides of their regulars who pay them better anyway. It's a level of job security and stability no rideshare company in the world could provide because they didn't decentralize the most important part of that, which is the rider-driver relationship to the edge of the network, which is the driver. And there's interesting kind of social forms that kind of formed here in Austin to make that more sustainable over a number of years. But taking some of those lessons, it's like, how do we like attract developers? Fucking pay them for the work that they're doing. Hey, you're building code that you're putting up. Keep doing that. But let's like put that into a thing that's valuable, other people find valuable, and then give you a cut of the revenue.
I mean, this is what Moritz was talking about when we had him on to do workshops. That's where I think you guys really get it's the bounties. It's that type of incentive to get these people to want to build on the platform that you guys are creating for the ecosystem. It's bounties. Bounties are awesome. Even more awesome are programmatic lifetime revenue share. Okay. Yeah. So the first money I ever made online, 2006, running Google ads for the affiliate program of eBay Canada or something like that. Really?
But just this idea of if you're driving an economically significant event to a business that they wouldn't have had that business otherwise, they'll cut you into it. And so you've got, these people that like scale that up and they're able to, generate X millions of dollars online because they got just these massive like affiliate engines. So like I came to really respect the power of
affiliate marketing,
but like commissions where, and then, there's a race of who can pay those people the best. And so you got all these like products that are like we'll give you 75, we'll give you 90% commission because they want to get those top hustlers out there.
Yeah.
And there's like literally no one doing this in the realm of like AI services. The closest is like people that do these little like shitcoin versions where they're giving like their scammy tokens for things, but like make it grounded in real value based on what people are willing to pay for. And if we don't yet know what people are willing to pay for, I mean, that's just a process of discovery of a market. The markets will figure that shit out really fast.
Yeah, that's
if
true.
you give those people in India, in anywhere around the world, like, hey, we're going to give you the opportunity to use your skills to solve a problem and get paid. Like,
it's the same thing we do here at Club Lab. People ask me all the time. It's like, well, how are you able to get these type of developers? How are you able to do these type of things here? And why are these why do people want to come to Club Lab? And it's because of the support system that we have here. Like, we make it really easy for people to come in and want to learn and innovate and help each other. It's the people that make the difference. But that starts from having the workshops, the hackathons, the startup days, the little private parties that we do, or this just to hang. It's like creating an environment for building, and that also is something that needs to be kind of thought out as we're going to start seeing more and more of these platforms, whether it's OpenAgents or whether it's Albi or whether it's like Mutiny, these things need to have a community and support there, and I think that's why those take off.
I'm really excited
really well.
about what you guys have built here and been fascinated to watch it grow over the last few years. And part of what I hope to be able to contribute is if anyone here has anything at all relevant to AI, whether they want to consume as a service or they have something that they think would be valuable in this broader AI marketplace, like I want it to be. And I hope to like beta test, like recruit guinea pigs from this network. I'll be around here.
Well, you're like leading the AI Bitcoin space now in Austin.
We just needed an obnoxious person to step forward and be the loudest troll on Twitter. So
I mean, it's no secret. I mean, that's the thing that I think was the big draw of getting you inside of Club Lab and getting you here back to Texas. It was like, dude, we're bringing that kind of brain power, that kind of, you need that flagship type of startup out there running the direction of, hey, this is the direction we're going. And I think, what's the other one that you mentioned earlier? The Satoshi,
Spirit of Satoshi.
I think they did it early on, but it seems like you guys are now kind of taking that flag and kind of running with it.
And it's great to work with them specifically because they built this whole kind of data curation engine, kind of like paying people a little bit of sats to curate data to create this Bitcoin model. And I know that they've been trying to look for ways to kind of like productionalize that model. And they've found it kind of tough just with how fast moving the AI space is and stuff like that. But what I told them was like, the beautiful part about what y'all have built is that you've got this sort of like engine of a way of compensating people for providing data specifically for training models.
Right.
And if we apply that, not just to one model, but like, let's put that into a system like OpenAgents where we can have people kind of being paid to train the models that then get used. It's just like, that is a component in what should be like a full AI stack that pays people value for value to what they contribute. We're kind of starting from agents and working our way down. They're kind of starting at models and working their way up. But, we're going to be working with them in some capacity.
Yeah, I love it. Bullish. What's so as far as the agent stuff that's launching, hopefully, because we'll release this next week. But
yeah, by the time you're listening to this, we will have soft launched. You can go to openagents.com and create an account and like play around with creating an agent.
Find your grandma's cookbook.
Yeah, go look around for cool data that
Dude,
you can
I'm going to do that. My sister has a cookbook somewhere.
Yeah. And, I will consider this a success if the sort of like average user who's just like, what's this? I want them to be able to go and create an agent inside of a minute, click the button, share it on Twitter, get some feedback, like have like one person use it and have that person get like 10 sats. Like if I can get a new person 10 sats in the first 5 minutes, that'll be fucking cool.
Experiment. I mean, this is what happens. Like, this is why it works, dude, because you're just experimenting, man. just experimenting to see what are the possibilities. Because somebody's going to come up with something, Christopher, that you're going to be like, holy crap, like, how did this happen?
Exactly.
And that's the thing that's just the wonder. The wonder that's going to be brought to that platform is going to be amazing. You're opening up a really cool thing, man. It's fascinating. What do we have to look forward to as far as the rest of the year? What do you got going on? I know you have the family stuff, but any places that we can come see you? Anything like that?
I don't think I have any travel plans at all. I'm just gonna get it into a good flow of shipping product. I mean, we're gonna raise a bit more money, and we're probably gonna open a big ass Austin office at some point. And there's a big creative loft building right next to you guys at 610 Prados here. So maybe
that'd be awesome. These guys are, oh no, next door. These guys are like a intelligence AI company of a sort. I don't know what they do, but they're next door. They just moved in maybe like 2 weeks ago or something. But those guys, I'm just like, why are they next to us? But I think we just need to get every Bitcoin company in this Brazos building. I think at this point, they have enough room here.
Orange pill, everybody.
But yeah, we have that big office over there. You never know, Christopher. That's all I'm saying. Cool, man. Well, thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for coming to the lab. And where can everybody find you? I'll put all the links in the show notes and stuff. But
OpenAgents.com. Definitely check us out on Twitter. I'm pretty good at shit posting. OpenAgents Inc. And starting to post more stuff on Nostr. If you're not on Nostr, you're going to want to get on Nostr. You can log into OpenAgents.com with Nostr too.
Okay, and I'm gonna ask you quick fire. I do rapid fire now. Just 3 questions, real quick. First question: What's a book that you're reading right now that you find completely fascinating that you want to share?
The Architecture of the Roman Empire.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm fast. So, and this is one thing I'm gonna like my kind of side project that I want to pull into OpenAgents is like I want to train an agent with a bunch of like materials on how to create like these Roman pillars. And just like start building some concrete in my backyard and like just start making shit. Yeah.
And is that possible? Like as far as like the schematics and stuff like that?
Well, you can get, so one of the things I'm excited for, like stretch goal, towards the end of this year is experiment with this idea of text to CAD, right? Because all these like CAD softwares for designing 3D models and stuff are kind of all very like old and corporate and heavyweight.
Yeah.
But like a lightweight version of CAD that's like AI agent first, where agents can kind of help design things. Because what I want to be able to do is, and there's like at least one project working on this like text to CAD thing. Like I want to be able to be like, give me a schematic for a block that can support a structure of any particular like weight or whatever, and just work with it so it gives me a CAD design that I can export that to a 3D printer, have that be the mold, pour concrete into it, and then like I had an agent help me build a thing.
Dude, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, we gotta have the agents come into the built environment in some way.
Yeah. All right. Second question: if there was one way, I'm not sure if you ever met Sam Altman, but if you had to give him one piece of advice, if you did meet him and you did have a chance to talk to him, I don't know if you have or not. You don't have to say if you have or not, but what would
renounce WorldCoin and all shitcoinery. Get on Bitcoin, and then we can be friends.
So the orb, yeah, I think the orb is the most important thing to get through. Why that's a bad thing. All right, and then the final question is, dude, I know you do always do this kind of stuff, but where's your quiet time? Where's your peace time? Like, what do you do? Do you read? Like, what is it? What gets Christopher back to just normal?
I like going for walks. Got a nice park near where I live, and read. Play Roblox with my son.
Nice.